Hello there, beautiful people. Good to see you again. Stuart here, and I am out on a lovely hike again in another beautiful forest with Harlow, who is over there watching me as I record this video very patiently. So today, exciting topic. We're looking at, you know what to do, but you're still not getting around to doing it. And this is a really big topic, and I think it's one that people almost don't want to admit they experience. Because it can feel embarrassing and frustrating, and you can't work out why you can't actually make headway. Like, you know what you need to do, should do, could do, but just don't do it. You just don't get to doing it. And that is tough and can be really frustrating. And with it, when we don't achieve, then it kind of goes around this, what we've talked about before, of thought to emotion loop. And the thoughts change from I'm not getting around to this, to the emotion being feeling frustrated with yourself, to then the thought being I'm frustrated with myself, what's wrong with me, to then the emotion of, you can imagine the cycle that will go on there. And then it becomes more and more obscured for us and from us being able to move forward. And ultimately, it is frustration, not confusion. And that's really important distinction to make. In order to, ultimately, we want to move you towards being able to take the actions you want to take. So today I want to explore what is likely going on for you, what could be going on for you, and give you a bit of a tool or device that you can use in any moment when a situation like this comes up, that you'll be able to navigate. And ultimately, you already have the answer. It's just that we need to unearth it there for you. It is within you. It's just going to take that right reflection in the moment to explore. And the more we do it, as we know, the better we get at it, flexing those muscles and getting better at helping move ourselves forward, ultimately, so you can achieve, right? You can do the things that you want to do and move forward. So the issue is that it shows up in the moment of wanting to take action, and that's difficult because then you're already feeling immediately flat, especially if you've trained your mind to think these thoughts and these emotion loops that are counterintuitive, that are counterproductive, that ultimately become so compelling you just feel the emotion and stop and just walk away, and it becomes this something feels like something larger than what it actually is. But again, that's what we want to explore today. So we want to look at the importance of taking action. Again, a lot of these things could be cliched and you're like, yeah, I know, Stuart, taking action is really important. But the reason why taking action is really important is that sitting in a vacuum or by yourself in these thought processes, you are not going to get more visibility and clarity on what's going on unless you move. So we've got to work out how to start taking that action, right? And it's not just force yourself to take action, because chances are, if this resonates with you, of knowing what to do but not getting around to it, you've tried to just force yourself to take action. And that might work for a bit, and then it flops again. Or it might work well, but then you come back to the same place. What we ultimately want to do is to be able to give you a tool, again, or a device that you can utilize in any moment like this that will give you clarity on what's really going on, so you can take that all-important action. And then use action for what it's good for, which is action gives us information that we didn't have before. We remove ourselves from the vacuum of our own thoughts and our sort of preconceived stories and emotive cycles that we have built for ourselves, and we move forward and we gather more information. So therefore, we are better tools to be able to keep moving forward. So really important to note is that you're not lazy. You're not lacking discipline. We're not looking at, David Goggins' powerful approach for a lot of people, which is fantastic, but we're not looking at just grind harder, push, just you've got to just fight your way through it. There's elements of that, but the most important thing here is if you can really understand what is taking you to the places and the experiences that don't help, you can better be able to control them as and when they rear their heads in the context of your life. And this is why it's different for all of us, and there is definite subjectivity to this, and that's why you have the opportunity, nay, I'd say the responsibility to do this work and get yourself there. And you'll save yourself so much pain, inverted commas, in the future. So ultimately it is something internal that's influencing the pause. And it's going to be something that's very real and makes absolute sense. It's not nonsense. It's not that you're not capable or able, or there's some defect within you that everyone else seems to be able to and you can't. And as we know, compare leads to despair. So what we see of other people's lives and how they do things is not necessarily how it is in their own experience, but we have our own perceptions through assumption, etc. So similarly is that when we can look at, for you, what is really going on, you're better to be able to move forward. So different parts of you step in at different points. And each part of you has a different agenda. It has a different focus, a different requirement of what it's looking to achieve. So different parts of you, of yourself, step in at different times, and they're all intended to be useful. They're all intended to be able to help you, but a lot of the times they're applied in areas where they're not, and it's counterproductive, as we were discussing earlier. So, and these parts are this kind of 3 parts that I'm going to explore today, and for the purposes of the illustration of what we're exploring today, Harlow's just walking past, crunching the leaves. For the purposes of this illustration, I'm going to use these 3 parts, which are perfection, which says you're not ready yet. There's protection, which says it's not safe to start here. And then there's procrastination, which is saying, let's do some more thinking first. As Stephen Bartlett famously said, or certainly as in my understanding, he said that procrastination loves to hide in planning. So we're just going to plan a bit more, but ultimately we end up just delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying. So therefore it's take action. But it's not just as simple as just, okay, push forwards. As we were previously discussing, it's working out what is going on for you internally that is really stopping you. And it's going to be one of these 3, perfection, protection, or procrastination. So planning hides the delay. So it feels like you're being productive, because again, as I was saying, these things can be really useful. Planning is a useful thing. But if we get stuck in planning, that's not so useful because we don't take action. So it really does feel like progress, but it isn't movement. So at some point there needs to be that shift. So what's important is to recognize, or start working towards recognizing within yourself, which part of me is calling the shots. Is it the perfectionist? Am I waiting until everything is perfect before I get going? It's understandable. We want to make sure things are going to be great, but clarity comes through action, not inaction. And rather we have imperfect action than perfect inaction. I'm going to say that again. Rather we have imperfect action, so get started and be willing to learn as you go along the way and refine and move forward. This is how all good action happens. Again, when you look in retrospect to what other people have done, you might look at it and think, well, that was perfect how that worked. It was absolutely fantastic. It might even be things in your own life. But this is where we have a sort of retrospect bias, because we remember the postcard of what happened and we forget the pain we went through, the challenges. Because at that time I managed to do it. So what's wrong this time is that you're forgetting what you had to go through. So if you're waiting for perfection, the perfect plan, it's not going to come. It's not going to happen. So just get started with the plan that you have and be willing to be wrong. That's really important, to be willing to be able to make mistakes. And from that, learn. We all have heard that cliche from many years back in business, which is the road to success is paved with failure. And that's because it's trying something, see what worked, see what didn't work, learn from it, reapply. And if you can go forwards like that, you can get yourself out of trying to have the perfect plan and just get going. And if the first action that you have set up is too big, break it down. So if that action you have is a 10 out of 10, so that would be 10 out of 10 success if we took that step, what would a 0.1 out of 10 be? What a 1 out of 10 be? Just break it further down, because once you start going, real inertia comes in through momentum and you start building up. And if you can be open to learning and growing, this is where you really start to take that action and really start to learn and map the picture out. And chances are it will be better than you may think that it could be. And getting going is just really where all the information is. So if we're looking at protection, so it's not safe to start. So what might you be telling yourself about the outcomes of taking these actions? Whether it's these individual actions or the contributions to the larger outcome that they're creating. If there's a fear coming up for you, what is that? Notice the stories that are going on in your mind, the scripts, the thoughts that are going on that's fearful that change means that might happen. And this might happen. And when things might happen, we're living in the world of anxiety. Is the description I love to share of the difference between anxiety and fear is that fear is that you have a lion right in front of you about to eat you. And then anxiety is the fear that a lion might be around the corner and want to eat you. So we consistently live in this hypervigilance of a possible threat, as opposed to actually dealing with things when they come up. Now, I'm not saying go and stand in front of lions. That's not what I mean. But the chances are there's not a lion there anyway. The chances are that you're fearful of something that might not happen. And if it does happen, you can be prepared to deal with it. You are resourceful enough, intelligent enough, experienced enough, skilled enough, and dynamic enough to be able to do what needs to be done in that moment. And if you're not sure, you can pull in others or resources or otherwise, and you know that you are able to better deal with what comes up. So if, again, it's like being that open. So if you have stories there that are talking about a perceived threat, is it really a threat? And really question that. What's really going on for you there? And if it is procrastination, so we've got perfection we've looked at, protection we've looked at, and procrastination, are you planning and planning and planning, thinking about one more thing needs to come in, I need one more course, I need one more education, I need one more thing? It may well be that they would be useful and helpful, but are they, if you're really honest with yourself in your reflections, are they stopping you from moving forwards? And if it feels like that's what needs to happen, what is a smaller contribution you can make to your plan moving forwards that will just get things moving forwards, getting that action on the go? So notice also, which part of you is calling the shots. So that's what we're exploring there. So who is in the driver's seat that's taking it away from you, that's having you on autopilot, that's got you drifting away from where you want to be and what you want to be doing, or at high speed moving away from what you're doing, but you're conveniently ignoring it because it feels safer, it feels like you've just got to wait for that one more thing, it feels whichever. So what is going on for you there? Really notice and name it clearly. So don't overanalyze. It's really important because we can get lost in, overanalyzing all these things, because then that just becomes more of the same. It becomes more procrastination, it becomes more planning, it becomes more perfection. So it's just really have a look at it and just be honest with yourself. What kind of comes up? There's no judgment here. There's no beating yourself up. The goal at the end of the day is to get action moving forwards, is to get past where you know what you need to do, but you just don't get around to doing it. But this to allow yourself to start taking those actions, because the key is in your hands. The things that are holding you back are within you. And that's, you could feel as though your mind could go straight into judgment of, oh, well, I should be able to do this, good old should word. If we've not been trained or have the skills developed of how to recognize these things and how to shift them, why would you know? You can't get into a car before you've learned how to drive a car and just drive it perfectly. That's not going to happen. You have to go through all the fumbling and the terrifying of dealing with other people, other drivers and indicators and headlights and windscreen wipers and all of these different things, gears and all that jazz. You got to learn that. So similarly, we have to learn this in order for us to be able to better tool ourselves to consistently and sustainably support ourselves in achieving what we want to achieve. So movement creates clarity. So just by considering this process and being open to noticing is going to be already bringing more clarity of what's really going on for you. You don't need a new plan. You don't need a cleaner starting point. You don't need to change who you are. You don't need to scrap what you've built and start building again. You can just notice and learn, observe what's truly there, and recognize which of the three might be holding you back within yourself. That is how we get things moving forward. So you know what you need to do. Oops, sorry, something fell on the screen there. You know what you need to do, but you're not getting around to it. So now you can observe what might be going on, and then you can really clarify, is what you know you need to do the right thing to do? And if so, who might be in the driver's seat from stopping you from doing it? Or it might be change the action that you need to do and recognize that you're in control and you can take that step. So it's really important that you recognize this is a very real pain and a very real situation that lots of people experience. You're not strange, you're not weird, you're a human being, and it's completely normal. And we slip into these modalities, and even if you have flexed the muscle of learning these things and applying them, we all slip back into the behaviors we drift into these natural behaviors of perfection, procrastination, and protection. So again, the more you notice, the better you get at noticing, and the more likely you are to actually take action and really give yourself the opportunity to move forward. So it's pausing, it's noticing, being compassionate with yourself, recognizing, and it really does. It might sound like this is not going to help, Stuart. How does this help? But I promise you, you put this into action, things really do become clearer. And when they become clearer, they become lighter. And you feel more in control, because anxiety is when we feel there's a perceived threat, but we also feel out of control. And we're also in the future. We're thinking about the future because our brains are prediction machines. So we're predicting all sorts of outcomes that could be terrible or bad for us or otherwise. Thus we continue planning, or thus we keep protecting ourselves, or we keep avoiding, or waiting for the best possible plan. But until you actually start moving is when you're going to find more of that clarity, more of that control, and actually find real traction. Chances are it's a lot more simple than you think it is. Chances are a lot of the noise that you're experiencing is completely understandable. However, it has been fabricated by you, which means you have the agency and ability to turn the volume down on it, keep it simple, focus in on what might be going on, and put yourself in the driver's seat. You'll have to do it again and again, but each time you do, the better you get at noticing and the better you get at shifting. You don't need a new plan. You don't need to be clearer. You You don't need to wait for the perfect moments. And even driving with hesitation, when you learn to drive again, we're using the car analogy, you carried on getting back behind the wheel and trying again and trying again and trying again. So similarly, the same with this. And when you're getting in the car, you're not blaming gravity around you. You're not blaming other drivers. You're not, well, it's not helpful if you do, but we're not blaming all those things. It's us that has to learn the skill. It's us that has to move those things forward and drive the car, whether we're talking literally or metaphorically and taking action. So notice who is driving the car and get yourself back into the driver's seat. Take small actions. Clarity will come, as will momentum, and these things compound over time. And that is how you get past knowing what you need to do, but not getting around to doing it. I'll see you in the next video, guys, and I'll see you in the living room. Come join us. All the best. You've got this.